People are abusive, Very often people are abusive. And you know why people are abusive? I will tell you why people are abusive. People are abusive because they are addicted to the idea that they have about themselves. They believe in the idea that they have about themselves. They think that their own idea that they have about themselves has validity. They believe in that. They believe in their own conception. They believe in their own idea about themselves. And they believe in the validity of it. And that's why they are abusive. They come to you on the beach or in the supermarket or on the road or in the coffee shop and they say, "Oh, hello, Christian, how are you?" And it's actually abusive already, because there is no awareness there, there's no knowledge, there's no introspective recognition, there's nothing there, it's just abuse. Because they believe in the idea that they have about themselves or about the world, That's why people are abusive. Maybe you have a relative, a sister, a brother, a mother, or a father who tells you who you are. Christian, no, you are like this. You cannot think like that because you are like this. That's what they're going to say. Why do they say that? They say that because they are addicted to their own idea about themselves. They cannot even see that they are stuck in the idea that they have about themselves. They live in a narrative. They live inside the narrative. They live inside an interpretation that they have of themselves and of the world. And they live inside the interpretation that they have of you. And that's why they are abusive. People are abusive and they are toxic when they don't recognize that they are abusive. If they cannot see this phenomenon inside themselves, if they have no awareness of this subtle mechanism in the mind that leads to abuse, if they cannot see this, then they become toxic. And if they cannot see it, then they become narcissistic. And as we all know, narcissists are both abusive and toxic and lethal in many ways, and they can really hurt you psychologically and emotionally because we are all innocent. We are all beautiful, innocent, tender hearts, who receive anything. We receive anything that we receive, actually. But other people come with their own interpretations. Other people come with their own projections, to say it like that. Other people come with their own projections, and they put that projection to you. They put you into the projection that they have. They see you, and then they put you inside that projection, and they say, "Oh, Christian, and it is abusive because that's not how life is. That's not how the inner architecture of the human being is. That's not how awareness is. That's not how knowledge is. That's not how deep understanding or recognition of ourselves or of how the human program works inside of us." So many people are abusive simply because they want you to be something for them. They want you, maybe you have a lover or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and they need you, they want you to be as you are. And when they say, "I want you to be you as you are," what they mean is that they want you to be what they want you to be for them, You are a projection, or they have made an interpretation about you. This is you. This is you. This is who you are. You're supposed to be like this. You're supposed to be supportive in this way. If you're not supportive in this way, then you're breaking the contract of the relationship. And if you're not supporting the false self, or if you're not supporting the toxic part of your relationship partner, then or the helpless part of your relationship partner, or the abusive part of your relationship partner, then, yeah, So people, usually we are blind, we don't see things, we live in our own projections, and we have these projections because of our deep inner needs that we cannot recognize ourselves, because it happens too fast. We need an intimate connection, it's the mother-child connection, or basically the child-mother or child-father connection. It's a deep will or desire for unity and connection inside our deeper emotional being. And because we have that, it spills out into our psychological life. And if you're a clever guy or a clever man or a decent man or an educated man, you will know that it is like this. And so you have to be careful, you have to be humble, you have to have caution, you have to operate with caution when it comes to other people, because you have no right to be abusive. You have no right to put other people into the projection that you have, which we all do, more or less, from time to time. And perhaps not even from time to time, perhaps even always we do like that. It's a part of how the human brain works, It's how we it's how we organize ourselves in a way. We have to make these projections and we have to make these interpretations, because that's how the brain works, The brain works like that in order to survive, in order to navigate in a world. Because the brain needs to make predictions, that's how we survive. We survive because of the predictions that the brain makes. We don't know that, but that's basically what happens. But anyway, people are abusive because they are attached to the idea that they have about themselves, and very often they are addicted to the idea that they have about themselves. I am like this, and that's why you are like that. Which is abusive. It's abusive, it's toxic, it's not true, So, but that's how it is, and that's the kindergarten theater operation. That's the drama of human life, We put each other in these boxes and ourselves in these boxes. I'm like this, and because I'm like this, you are like that. It's very easy to do it, and very rewarding to do it, because it makes everything so easy and friction free for ourselves. But it's not too respectful to the other person. And there's been a lot of decent philosophers in this world who has made a lot of thinking around the other. What is the other? What does it mean to encounter the other? Well, to encounter the other means a responsibility towards having awareness, It means that we have to be responsible. We have to remember, acknowledge who we are and what we are not, and that it is abusive if we violate the being of the other with our own projections. So people are abusive because of this. We want other people to be as they are for us. I want my sister to be like that. I want my brother to be like that. I want my mother to be like this. I want my father to be like that. Very difficult to get out of that. And so that's why we have personal conflicts too. Because it very often is dysfunctional, this relationship, If you're lucky, then you find a relationship partner, you find an other who corresponds to your needs and to your desires or to your inclinations. And then the interaction goes well, goes smoothly. Not because of equality or things like that, but simply because it corresponds. It works well, the interaction works. In any way, in whatever way, there are many relationships that are perfect that last for 5 minutes, or that we're not aware of, and there are many relationships that are completely dysfunctional that we're stuck in and that we're living in every day. And this is, of course, the paradise and the hell and the purgatory of family, because family is that, family is to being placed in an environment of people who are the other, other people who has completely different ideas about anything and everything, and because of their own experiences and things like that. So it's very easy to be abusive in a family setting, and it's very easy to be abusive in a marriage setting or in a romantic relationship also, especially after the infatuation has cooled down. So that's a little bit about abuse, psychological abuse, emotional abuse, even emotional neglect, because this abuse needs to neglect. We don't get our needs met. We don't get seen. We don't get heard. We don't get acknowledged. We don't get confirmed. We don't get validated. We don't get seen, understood, and acknowledged by other people, simply because other people live inside their own projections and they have their own interpretations of us. And the reason why they have their own interpretations of us is because they are addicted to the idea that they have about themselves. The one leads to the other, in a way. Or at least this process or this psychological awareness map is worthwhile to remember and to see, because it means that we should set each other to a larger extent more free than what we usually do. We cannot set each other completely free. We can do that when we are in a wonderful spiritual or psychological healing environment, but we cannot always be like that in interactions, in relationships. So, but to have a little bit awareness, self-awareness about this is very important, because we don't want other people to be abusive towards us, which means that we should try not to be abusive towards them also, by believing in the mental paradigms that we believe in. I am like this, the world is like this, you are like that, everyone is like this, life is like this, now I'm telling you this because of that. So that's projections, that's projections, interpretations, attachments to belief systems, to paradigms, to narratives. So we are living inside these narratives, inside these cartoons, you could say, cartoons and language games. We're living in cartoons and language games, and these cartoons and language games are our own projections that occur in a subtle way a lot during life, during the day in which we live. So in order to make society less toxic, more abusive free, then we have to see this. Don't put other people too easily into our own projections. Let people be what they are in the moment, because we all change. Life is a kaleidoscope in a way, So terrorists, they are stuck, in this, fundamentalists. Terrorists are anyone, politicians, blah blah, priests, religious people. They are stuck in these loops of projections, these loops of interpretation, these narratives that is very abusive to other people who don't necessarily need that narrative, who doesn't necessarily identify as being a part of such a narrative. They have a different narrative, they have a different approach, and they want to have that different approach. They don't want to live inside. They don't want to be found as something that they are not, inside a paradigm, inside a narrative that the Pope is giving them, or that the teacher is giving them, or that the spouse, mother, father, sister, brother is giving them, or even a friend, you know. So in order to be less abusive, less toxic with each other, we have to know about this. Don't make people too stuck in rigid projections that we have about ourselves and about others. Okay.